Potatoes and chicken. Tariffs!
Not good. You've surged, your water is thick, danger, blood. You were with us when it was not as nice. Not good. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy, they had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports, it's called baseball in particular.
Tariffs!
Salt water in their veins. You have that salt water. Don't let the doctors change it. Keep it. Because there's nothing like it. There's no blood like it. Not good. When they gaze upon Yosemite, action replays in magnified fortune. A lot of that sand is going to be loaded up with peace. The sand was loaded up with blood. Hydrosonic, I go super duper. They don't like the gas. To me, Corona means Italy. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. You're going to frack. Not good.
Potatoes and chicken.
Hey, sir, you shouldn't say that. It's two spreads of control. They have a lot of earth. I don't read, obviously. Michigan gave us Motan. And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what? We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately. Protesters, isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? Medical and what we're doing. You have nobody guarding your potatoes.
Potatoes and chicken.
You have nobody guarding your potatoes. Wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this, you look at what we did with our wildlife. Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. If you get it in order, you get extra points. Not good.
Potatoes and chicken.
Check. Check. All right, we're getting together. Let's see.
They come after us from every angle. They're after us, and we're here, and they're not.
Keep an eye out for the end times. I like wood.
Stop it!
What? 2,000 meals coming soon.
I had a beat off.
I don't know. That's the kind.
I had a beat off.
2,000 meals coming soon.
You need three things. You need people, you need information, and you need people with information.
I didn't become different. I got impeached twice. Brett Kavanaugh.
Deeper and longer.
Piece of malware called QSnatch.
Wow.
Hanzo. I call the stroker.
I had a beat off.
I call the stroker.
Wow.
Boy, it was like a lightning rod went off.
I had a beat off.
All right, check. We're up on Instagram. What's happening, people? Hit that like, share the show, etc., etc. Subscribe. It's not that hard. It's the easiest thing to do. Second easiest thing to do. I understand. I don't think sitting on your ass charts. I'm just going to go there. All right, let's see if my camera works. It does. My camera's working. It's good. And let's fade down the music and welcome to the show. Hi, everybody. And hi, chat room. The greatest chat room in the history of live stream chat rooms. I got to tell you, I appreciate you being here. What's going on? Where are you? What I can see what site you're on, but that doesn't tell me much. What? Tell me what? Are you in the United States? Are you in the continental United States? Are you Hawaii, Alaska? I'll ask you later. Are you Canadian? Because I owe you guys a hug, apparently. Just picture me collectively hugging all Canadians, right? Well, not all of them. There's like 6 of them I can do without. Well, let's be honest. And 12. All right. Chicago, now you're making me jealous. Look at this. Oh, commercials again? I beg your pardon. House membership is cheaper than Johnny Millions. Well, you know, I'm going for volume. He's a much more, specific. He's worth every penny. Let's be honest. Okay, a lot of stuff to cover today. Far too many. I have like, now Benny Johnson, bless his stupid little heart, has all the, like, every time we check his show, he's just basically reading X posts for a living. And he's got millions of subscribers. So maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. I don't have to appreciate the content if I can learn something tactically. Mine looks like that with YouTube. And occasionally Rumble. Thank you for your gracious Saturday. Oh, gracious. That was lovely, Cheryl, and it's lovely to see everybody, and I can't tell you, it was just adorable. Osaka, Japan, right on. If you run into Chuck Wright, he's over there with his wife. He just saw Marty Friedman, and it was very cool. Marty's been over there so long that apparently it's hard for him to speak English. That's amazing. Kansas City, here I come. Eureka, California. What a great idea. Minnesota, what's going on? Myrtle Point, not to be confused with Myrtle Beach. All right. This is fair. I'm going to start off with something fairly awful, but I want to address this. Our guest this morning was talking a little bit about how Iran is really a proxy for China and Russia at this point, and all the proxies that are downstream from Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. Those all are proxies of Iran. So technically speaking, I would argue they are proxies of China and Russia. Yes, we're good. I mean, fish rots from the head. Venice, Florida. Look at that. Sacramento, Old Sac. Chicago, Kansas City there too. Oh, you guys should hang out. That's very cool. Oh, the speech was good. Oh, thank you. I did it, but I've yet to see it. So I will. I'll post it on my channel if they're supposed to send me a copy of it. So we'll get there eventually. Let me show you something that just happened in China, and this just kind of brings us into something that you guys. Every time something awful happens in the United States, there is this idea that we're alone in this, especially gun violence. When there's gun violence, there's a tendency to think that there's no gun violence except in the United States, or that statistically it's so small in other places that it doesn't chart. And the reason is because there's where South Africa is right now, and arguably Sudan and other places where there's like military actions or criminal gangs that are just so out of the shooting is so much that we don't even think about it. It just reaches the noise level, and then it gets to the United States, which should be manageable, and we feel like and that's true. And then there's like a drop off to a more, I guess, understandable per capita reasoning, and of course,
And when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
yeah, that's right, maggots. He's that dumb. So this is from China. This is not gun violence, but this just happened in Beijing. A guy got a hold of a bulldozer and drove through a washer, like a night market, but it's a day market or whatever. It's like this farmer's market. He drove a bulldozer into basically a farmer's market and killed 13 people. He eventually he ran over a bunch of people. He ran over a bunch of booths. One guy throws a chair at him, but there's another guy. See the guy in the red shirt? That guy eventually, once he figures out where the guy is going and what the hell's going on, and he checks on somebody, that guy climbs up onto the bulldozer and basically grabs a hold of the guy in the controls or wherever. The guy runs into a car over here, and then he and a couple of other people beat the snot out of the guy, and he's later arrested. Okay, so more than a dozen people were killed, and a bunch of people are injured. And there is a tendency, like I said, yeah, good for that dude, total winner. And our dear friend Serpent ZA has done a lot of stories about what are called revenge attacks. These they're called revenge against society attacks, and a lot of times they happen in terms of, let's see if I'll show you without showing you. There are mass stabbings. So they, some dude disgruntled, mad at the world, grabs a knife and goes into oftentimes schoolyards. A lot of times, occasionally it'll happen on a train, but a lot of time it happens to children specifically. And I want you to think about, with the Epstein files and all that kind of stuff, the attacks on children we have in the United States, and the even with school shootings, that's usually kid on kid, as it were. But very seldom in our country does an adult barge into a school and start shooting the place up. It does happen. And I was at New Trier when Lori Dan went on her spree, shot up New Country Day School, I think it was called. And then she went down the street. She was walking towards my high school. We were on lockdown because nobody knew where she was. She had gone into a house where there was a couple people there, and I think shot and killed a couple people there. She ended up killing 7 people. And Karen says, why innocent children? Because to them, it represents society and people with hope. And since they have no hope, it's this weird fuck everybody idea. And yeah, there's this dude walking up.
Go up to people and stab them directly. It takes a different kind of...
See, that guy's got a cleaver in his hand? Okay. So if you want to see that stuff, check out Serpent ZA's channel and tell him I said hi. But he's covered a lot of this over the years. There was obviously a big one in Zhuhai, I believe it was, last year before. Yeah, it was last year. China car attack. That'll be it. It probably will come up immediately. Yeah. And there are a couple of big elements of this. It was a Tiananmen Square one. Where's this? But this guy, this guy took his car to an area where people jog, and he drove through them. He killed 35 people. And it's this little ring around this. Let's see if this is.
Good morning. I'm Megan Fiat. Attack where a man rammed, killed, and more than police detained. This self-inflicted.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know that they show the situation on there, and you don't need to see it. But there's like a jogging path around this sports center, and it's like like if you ever go to a stadium, there's like a big, almost like 2-car wide concrete flat area for people to line up when they've got tickets for things, but it goes all the way around. So if you have to walk from one area to the other and there's large people trying to find which entrance is best for their seats, it goes all the way around the place. This guy drove down on that where people jog there in China, and this guy drove through 100 people or so, killing 35, wounding a bunch of others. And the reason I want to, I bring this up is this just happened, and besides me and probably the China show, you're not gonna hear it. You're not gonna know about this. And there is I want to remind everybody that there's enough awful to go around, that that the United States is not alone in this, and there are plenty of reasons why, plenty of examples worldwide where awful exists, and good people like yourselves need to be aware of that, so you don't feel paralyzed in your own country thinking that it's special and you're carrying an extra burden. Now, where we should handle these things is, I think we're all for gun legislation and proper licensing, registration. I would argue insurance. I would also say that people who have guns in the house should have to keep them locked up, so that if they're on vacation, somebody can't just break in and just pull them off the wall, and that kind of stuff, especially if they are high-powered weapons or handguns and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I wanted to bring that up to you guys, because literally that just happened, and it's happening more and more. It's a pretty terrible and very consistent thing. Meanwhile, maybe this will make this part of it seem a little Serpent ZA. So this is Trump selling the official White House app. From the horrible to just stupid.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration is launching a brand new official White House app, giving front row access to all news from your favorite president, Donald J. Trump. That's me.
That's me. I saw my name on the thing. I got to tell you, this dude is looking more like Benny Hinn / what was it? The televangelists on CBN all look like this, and they never leave the job, so they all sound like this too.
It's available today on the Apple and Android app stores.
I can't wait. We'll rush right out.
You can watch all White House events, read all my executive orders, and keep track of all of our promises made, promises kept. That was a phrase that I used during the campaign, and
yeah, you didn't make it up. It's not new.
It's very true. In fact, I actually kept more promises than I even talked about.
You can't keep more promises than you make. That's right up there with we're going to lower drug prices by 1,700%.
Did much more than I said we were going to do. Every American.
Yes, you did not say we were going to attack Iran and go for regime change and start another forever war. Sure.
Should expect their government to have transparency, and the Trump administration is the most transparent in history.
Why the fuck would the app be a reason why you're being transparent? How does that make you more transparent? It's the stuff that's on C-SPAN, you can now download an app, which, I'm certain doesn't track you.
Is for sure. No one knew that Sleepy Joe Biden was doing. We had no idea what that guy was doing. The good news is he had no idea either. But my administration.
The good news is
inviting all Americans to join us on this mission to make America great again. I believe it has to be the most important, powerful phrase.
Oh, he's freeballing now.
In the history of politics. Make America great again.
Yeah, we've heard it. Yeah, it's not yours.
Again, and we have made America great again. Now
oh, good. So you're resigning.
We want to keep it great.
So MACA, CAG.
Download the new White House app today. Thank you very much. You have done a great job. We appreciate it. Thank
you. I am? Well, thank you. Sorry, who are you talking to? What do you mean you're doing a great job? Is this you just run out of shit to say and you just throw that in? That's great. Nice app.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. So that's Yeah, only farmers is the thing that they just got. Now, I'm going to jump into a bunch of things, and we're going to have to do some needle dropping because it's just too much to deal with. Now, many of you will remember Alex Stein. Alex Stein is one of the like douchier right-wing maggot guys, and just proud sexist and bigot and yada yada. This dude, right? Well, apparently, he loves the Iran war. Let's see, shall we? Fix America before fighting everyone else. Well, that doesn't sound very patriotic.
To After Hours with Alex Stein on your
the show that's on so late, even the producers at Real America's Voice don't watch.
favorite channel, Real America's Voice.
Said no one ever.
Now, we got some great news, really good news out of CNN, terrible news network, but
you got to source them because they're a real network and you're in a garage.
it looks like the war is going in the right direction because
Sorry, based on what?
we are putting boots on the ground, finally,
Oh, I see. This is sarcasm, I think. What idiots have instead of a sense of humor.
Oh, I've been waiting for boots on the ground. I'm ready to get in there and just end this thing, even though Donald Trump has said that we've won this war about 8 different times. It looks like we're going to actually
Hey, man, I'm starting to see why they put you on late at night.
finally win this war, which I'm so excited about. So let's play this clip of CNN announcing boots on the ground are dropping right now in the Middle East.
Well, Audie, whatever the president ultimately decides about a ground operation in Iran, all the pieces are now in the region to carry one out. And it's not just the 1,000 paratroopers. You have Marines deployed to the region. And then
yeah, about 15,000.
All the forces, the air transport, etc., that one would require to put troops on the ground, whether that be, you've heard the discussion of car.
I'm sorry, you've ran out of time on your using clips from a network you shit on.
Island, which is so central to Iran's energy industry, or perhaps along the shores of the Strait of Hormuz to secure the Strait of Hormuz. We don't know, and ultimately it's up.
Hey, welcome to the club, buddy. We don't, they don't, Trump doesn't. Who knows?
To the president.
Who can say?
But at least the pieces are in place. So we're left in a situation not unlike where we were 4 weeks ago before the start of the war, where you have 2 tracks at the same time. You have
we have what's really happening and the bullshit from the White House. We'd never experienced that before.
Diplomatic discussions with Iran, or at least now laying the groundwork for those discussions, with an enormous military buildup. We saw what happened 4 weeks ago. The president chose the military option, saying that the talks weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, you're assuming that there was going to be a choice.
Now, this is great news. We're finally going to go and knock out Iran. Even though we've knocked out most of their military infrastructure, they're still able to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. But now we're putting...
Nobody's listening. Don't even bother correcting yourself.
Boots on the ground. We're about to knock them out, and this war is going to be over very soon. So I'm very excited for that because we've been, waiting to do this. We should have done it at the beginning. We need as many boots on the ground as possible. I know Dennis Prager and Jeremy Boring are going to be excited about that. So I'm excited for all of our servicemen and women to go to Iran and fight these Iranians on the ground. Because you know what? Dropping bombs on them from airplanes, that's only so effective. We need to really get in there, take Karg Island, and take the Hormuz.
Does he just always sound sarcastic and therefore, reading from the teleprompter, he meant to be... I'm kidding. He clearly hates this, but he's just dragging this shit out.
Because I know that the global recession that is facing a lot of foreign countries, it's bad and it needs to end. But for me, I kind of like the global recession for some of these countries because I am America first and I really don't even care if these other countries are struggling right now because, like I said, we have our own problems. Sometimes it's nice to have some other countries have to go through these problems because I know all these other countries that got it A-OK. They're doing just fine. So I want to play this clip out of India where it looks like they're running out of gas because, some of our, shenanigans in the Middle East. And I'll be honest, if this war makes it so India can't have gas, then I hope this war never ends. And
what the shit?
I'm not even kidding, because watch this clip of these guys queuing for gas. This looks so awesome. And this is what they get for doing all their H-1B visa scams and, you know, basically stealing American jobs.
Sorry, H-1B visa scams? You think they're getting like high-tech jobs that they're not qualified for?
Now we stole your oil. You stole our jobs. We stole your oil. This is what I like to see, and this is a good side effect of this war. Let's play the clip.
All right, look, I guess if you have to come up with a distracting take to take the pressure off Trump, this is a whiff, but I guess is that what he's trying to do? Anyway, does he eventually...
Lord, America's...
Hold on.
Praise the Lord, America's energy independent. Thank goodness. We don't have to worry about that. We're going to have gas for months and years and not have to be in a long line like that. So that's what you get, India, when you...
What? Sorry, is there a reason why he thinks we're not going to have lines for gas if this shit goes on? Or does he just think Americans have endless money to spend? No, in America, more than likely, what will end up happening is that you'll see a lot more broken down cars on the side of the road as people thought they could make it to the gas station, or they didn't have enough money to fill their tank, so they could only top it off or add a little bit. And that wasn't enough to get to and from work one night. That'll increasingly happen. So there's your America First energy policy.
So the bull, you get the horns, you imported all your people to America, and now you don't have any gas.
You imported all your people to America.
So this is awesome. Like I just said, I hope this war never ends. I could care less if they don't even get to drive their cars and pollute their country. That's their problem. Luckily, I'm an isolationist. I'm an American firster, so I'm only worried about putting gas in my gas tank. And we know, since America is energy independent.
No, we're not. We do not produce the same amount of oil that we use. We use about 19 million barrels a day. We produce about 13 and a half, 14.
None of the global recession facing, you know, all of these citizens in India and Asia and Australia, none of that is our problem.
Okay, so maybe he hasn't been being sarcastic. Maybe he's pro boots on the ground at this point. I don't see a tone shift.
So America is doing A-OK when it comes to the energy crisis facing all of these foreigners. And, you know, I think this is actually one of the best side effects of this war. It's the fact that other people don't have gas. We don't have to worry about it. Not my problem. Not going to worry about it. So I'm so happy that we got...
Yeah, we'll have to pay $8 a gallon for it, but...
boots on the ground to continue this fight and to continue to make gas prices skyrocket for all these foreign countries. Well, we just drill in Pennsylvania. We just drill in Alaska. Drill, baby, drill. The pimp on a blimp is feeling good because America is a safe, secure... Well, not that safe, but it's a secure country, and we got enough...
The pimp on a blimp? Is that his nickname for himself?
Oil and gas to last a long time. We got millions in the reserve, so
no
money in the bank. Shorty, what you drank, and that's gasoline. But India, you're running low. I don't know what you're gonna do. Not my problem. Not worried about it. But I do want to talk about another thing that is facing Americans is that we not only need gas for our cars, we also need roads. That's a big one. You know, it's hard to drive a...
Yeah, that's why that's why Biden passed an infrastructure act that Trump could have, but just decided not to because fuck everybody.
Car without a road to drive it on. But in Baltimore, we recently had a terrible tragedy where a boat struck the Francis Key Scott Bridge.
Okay. This is 2 days ago. That was not recent. It's already fixed. All right, never mind. I don't know how the hell I mean, I guess they're trying to scoop around the edges and avoid talking about Trump in that crowd, but RAV's got, you know, they're doing double time over here. Get real. Week 4 at war. MAGA revolt erupts. I don't know any of these guys, so this is new to me and you. I don't pre-watch these videos at all, as you know, because God forbid I would have to watch any of this shit twice.
Welcome back to Get Real.
The ironically titled bullshit show.
Brought to you by Real Clear Politics and Real America's Voice.
Really? Oh, I see. Get real because it's both are named Real. That's awesome. I do think that.
Iranian people a real opportunity now when they see the end of this regime that was always bound to collapse.
It's a 60 minutes clip, and I'll get
dropping.
I will get I'll get a copyright strike on that. Not on this though.
On the Iranian uprising that started.
The Iranian uprising? Okay.
Before the bombs started dropping. Welcome back to Get Real. I'm Dave.
I feel welcome.
David DeRocher, and I'm joined by this week's panel.
Sorry, is your head CGI? Is it sitting on your neck, or is that just? Did someone try to strangle you with a piece of yarn coated in shit?
On the left, Team Blue, political strategist Madeline Somerville, and
Somerville,
journalist Ellis Hennigan. On the right, Team Red, entrepreneur, financer, author, attorney, my buddy Kenan Spivak. That's all. That's too much for you. And we have Freddie Gray of the Spectator. It's time to get real and get real clarity. Madeline.
And real dumb. This is going very well. I'm surprised this isn't on during prime time. This is fantastic. The graphics are banging. I think David Desrosiers is going to have a hard time saying his own name by the end of this show. And but is it that these are Democrats and Republicans, or is it MAGA versus rhinos?
What say you? The Iranian people, contrary to what the Council on Foreign Relations crowd says, are not coalescing around the Iranian regime out of nationalism. They appear to be pro-Big Satan, which is pro-U.S. for the latecomers. Madeline, my morning coffee is Morning Joe.
It's Great Satan, not Big Satan, but sure.
Not hearing that the Iranians, particularly those in the know, and the ladies like Mika, are on our side. The U.S. of A side. What are you hearing, and what do you want to say?
Yeah, I'd love to address this because I think it's a failing on the liberals' part in general.
Okay, so she's the rhino side or something, or this pro-con versus on the Iran war?
Especially because we have a responsibility to educate the next generation of voters about.
That's right, about why this war started and just how awesome it's going.
What the truth is. And the truth is that the Islamic Republic has struggled tremendously with dictators who are murderous and who are.
I don't think they've struggled with it. I think that's been their business model.
Are terrible for the world. The fact is that Iran has sworn to wipe Israel off the map by 2040. Like they had a deadline. They absolutely do want to spread Islam throughout the world in the same way that the vehement Christian nationalists want to do. They are very dangerous, period.
Sorry, the vehement Christian nationalists want to spread Islam throughout the world? It's a weird goal.
It doesn't justify the what I view to be nonsensical actions of the president, but you can't say, free Iran in the same way that you would say about any other country. It doesn't make sense, and it makes us look silly, and it's frustrating to me.
Yeah, all over the map. We have no idea. I guess she's against the war, but for all the cool stuff that's happening.
Because I feel like I'm trying to make good points about what I think the president is doing wrong, and people can come back and say to me, "Okay, but you can't say that Maduro wasn't a dictator. You can't say that that Ayatollah Khamenei was not a horrible person." And they're right. That's the truth. So I find myself extremely frustrated because there's so many people like the prince who's advocating for the human rights of the people who live around and near him, and the U.S. is pretending like that was never a problem. And
also, he doesn't live in Iran, lady. he does not. He's not there. He's. I think that interview was done in America. I think he's been living in the U.S. and Europe back and forth.
I am very against this war, but I want to make it very clear that the liberals are making a mistake here.
What mistake? Did we get a mistake? Did anybody hear one that actually makes any sense? Honest to God. I like, I don't want to listen to that again, but Jesus.
Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you, Madeline. We're all a little bit dumber now.
Getting back to the fact that we, you're and mine country, are not that into each other presently. I'm worried about this because one of the things that I've noticed is that.
Is he in Israel? Is that the gag?
You know, I would hate to see that your country would react the same way that Canada did. I mean, I think they rallied around Carney, and I don't think that was good for Canada. I'm worried that something similar might happen in the UK, in Europe. And what makes me really concerned about it is I don't think Trump cares, right? That I think he's willing to actually, insult for the idea, for the sake of it, but also to really hammer home those points that I think Kennan articulated in the last block. What say you?
Well, when the war started...
clearly he means the UK. I see. Mm-hmm.
There was some rather pompous English politicians who said we should cancel the King's state visit to the US, which is kind of...
Yes, for some ridiculous reasons like ethics and morals or something like that. But I actually think we should probably, for safety, don't you know?
Coming up at the end of this month. And I was quite relieved because
I'd hate for him to show up looking like a fancy pants in his ridiculous, shiny royal outfit, right? Because you just wear a suit bit, So I swear to God, it looks like he stood up in the middle of a tablecloth.
There was such a sort of drumbeat for it that I thought maybe it would happen. But the palace said, I think sensibly, no.
The palace said sensibly, I think, no, don't wear the big hat. It makes you look like a tosser.
It doesn't matter in terms of the...
Also, do you really need two scepters? Honestly, it looks like you're skiing down Royal Mountain.
Relationship with the special relationship will endure past this war, and that the institution of the monarchy doesn't act politically like that anyway. So I think there is this healthy love between America and Britain. I think the term special relationship has been sort of overused.
What the fuck? Like, the only separator between us and England right now is Trump giving him shit for not bailing us out in the Strait of Hormuz.
And it's a bit poisonous in some ways. But I think... no.
But in the middle of my making a fucking worthless point, in deference to the lady that spoke first, I think... So we're all doing a slice of gibberish. Is that what the show is now? Right? Right?
I don't think there's going to be a kind of revolt against America because of Donald Trump, partly because...
Even though he is quite revolting.
This war aside,
which should be easy.
Are much keener on Donald Trump than they make out, as I said in my first answer.
Yeah, because they don't have a fucking choice, do they? I mean, as soon as he's gone, you're going to see a bunch of people who suddenly get a backbone.
I do think there is a concern, and again, I don't want to use the word vulgar here because
you just did.
As I think Brits are more vulgar, but
that's the spirit.
I think that there is a concern about the kind of Yahoo war boosting that we see from Pete Hegseth and from the White House official channels.
I thought you were supposed to be on the other side of this. It sounds like all of you are against this war. You're just trying to find a different way to be against it.
And the weird thing about it is how similar it seems to us as outsiders to what the Iranians are doing. The Iranians say that Trump went to war to protect the paedophile class, the Epstein class.
Yeah, that charts.
And Trump talks about how the Ayatollah's son is probably gay.
And I just don't know why we can't have a more sensible conversation about this, just because he's tossing around homophobic slurs and whatnot in an attempt to try and shore up his own wilting masculinity with his tiny little tadpole of a penis and his odd orange skin. Now, and I resent the fact that your editors picked a picture of him, perhaps the best picture you could find, that's still the worst picture of a human being on the planet.
And then
that didn't try to kiss their own reflection in a volcano anyways.
They're both firing off, AI slot videos at each other, each showing the other triumphing over the enemy.
Who is a Lego.
And I do think, just to foreigners generally, that's a bit off-putting, and it sort of brings America down, not to the level of Iran, but it means that you are sort of
stupid. It's fucking stupid, mate. I don't have to fucking tell you this at all, mate. You've got a lesson or two to learn, yeah?
broadcasting a rather not imperialist, even imperialist would be better. A rather
no, it wouldn't.
Such a sort of gung ho attitude to the world that I do think is off putting, and I think on elections.
Sorry, what were you expecting from Donald Trump?
And Trump, I mean the
I don't like the fact that the president is throwing around these pejoratives that could equally apply to his own running mate. Why would you do such a thing? I don't like it.
The Danish have found out that there isn't such a big Trump-lash very recently, but that's a whole other point.
It's not a point at all, mate. What fuck are you talking about? Honestly.
Ellis, again, land the block.
Bail me out of this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, let me address both Freddie and Madeline's points. First of all, Freddie, I'm having trouble restraining myself from not trying to win the vulgarity contest here with you guys. Believe me, we can be pretty vulgar when we try.
We blew up a school.
To be, but I think you're right that there is an importance about these global alliances, whether we call them special or not, that matter to both of us, and they all will last far longer than whatever happens in Iran or even the Trump presidency. These are important relationships. We need allies in the big bad global world, and let's do what we can to preserve them, especially.
We're worried about breaking up with the UK over this?
In the tough times. I think Madeline makes a good point.
Which was what?
About
yeah, I don't know either.
America's relationship with Iran and how we look at that country.
All right.
The strongest case for the war is how terrible the Iranian regime is. There's no defending it. I mean, these people are
right. That's a case for not liking the country, not invading it. Think of all the leadership in the country that are bad to their own people. There's a country very close to me that comes to mind.
Brutal. My fear is that our attacks there have made it more difficult for the Iranian people to rise up. First of all, it creates a new villain for so many of them who are suffering so badly from our attacks. It makes them more fearful of a regime that, if anything, seems like it's going to be the same old people, just more pissed off than they were before.
Yeah, it is a good plan.
And those of us who crave democracy in that part of the world, I think we've been set back a little bit by.
Gee, I'm starting to think this was a shitty idea.
This adventure.
Good point. Good point. So I'm going to throw this one to Team Red and my stable genius
Not
BFF,
good.
Kennan. Would you speak to the American first pentocracy and how they're losing?
America first. Pentocracy? Like, is that the Pentagon? Is he talking about? I don't know what all these little code names for. These assholes are doing everything they can not to say anything.
In your mind, it's like this week, Archie Bunker Fuentes, made his divorce decree, and I think I've gladly accepted it. But I do think that.
Nick Fuentes is Archie Bunker Fuentes. I'm not quite sure. I guess armchair is the reference.
America First is, and those who claim to speak for MAGA, I think are finding out in the polls that they don't. And also, could you make the case for almost why America First should be patient and why MAGA?
Yeah, America First should wait in line behind Iran first, and then maybe Cuba. And then maybe it's America third. Well, I guess if you put Venezuela in, that puts us fourth. But that's assuming, of course, that he's not going to do any more shit like that.
Should be patient.
Well, I don't care whether Nick Fuentes is patient or not. I wish he would.
Damn. Shots fired.
Just go away. And Tucker Carlson can go away and Candace Owens can go away.
Man, hey guys, stop with the fucking swearing, okay?
The crazy anti-Semitic, racist, far right.
You mean Trump's base?
Happy if they vote for Republicans, but I don't really much
You're happy if they vote for Republicans. I mean, we obviously have to win them over.
care what they have to say.
Yeah, that doesn't sound elitist at all. We'll take their votes, but I'm not going to listen to them.
Unfortunately, every political party has its extremists. Those are the extremists in the Republican Party.
No, they're pretty mainstream right now. They're speaking at Turning Points USA and at CPAC.
A little bit come from this.
Fuentes isn't, but Tucker and those guys are.
Libertarian, no foreign adventure wing that both parties have. And
we do not, no, Democrats do not have a libertarian, no foreign ventures wing. We do not. We have an anti-war crowd that really means it, but they're not fucking libertarian. Get the fuck out of here. There are no libertarians. It's a farce.
Them, what Trump's done here is a betrayal of the notion.
Libertarians are by and large Republicans who are embarrassed by their Bush and now Trump votes, so they hide under a different label. They'll vote R every time.
That America first means stay at home in America. So there's some
where you can dress like an asshole. Apparently.
Logic to their positions there, even if they're.
Look at all that fucking gack. Think of all the people that are like setting fire to their hats right now. Oh, it warms my heart.
Wrong. But they're wrong in pretty much everything they have to say. And I think the rest of the Republican Party should, as best it can, move on from them.
Yeah, they can't. It's 20% of the electorate and fucking 50% of your base. Good Lord, these guys are lame. Okay, but everybody's trying to make their excuses for this, including everybody's favorite hiker on the Appalachian Trail. I don't know what happened to the top of his head. It disappeared somehow in the brush. But this is about troops on the ground in Iran. You know, something Harris and Biden would have done.
It seems like the big question now is whether or not
Are you the boys that painted my cat's butt?
Donald Trump and the Surgeon General, Pete Hegseth.
You know what? I don't want to correct them. And none of them are doing their job right. So does the label really matter?
Are going to put troops on the
Surgeon General.
ground in Iran and some of the little islands and stuff around the Strait of Hormuz.
You mean the one island that matters, Karg Island?
Well, I guess that most of the American public who has
this is going to be on us now?
Never served in the military and knows nothing about warfare or special operations. I guess they assume that at this point or up to this point, there hasn't already been any American troops on the ground.
No, I got you covered. I've said this multiple times. Yeah, that we have. There's definitely Mossad in there. There's definitely special ops troops running around lasering things, and no. I think what they mean is mass troops. Anyways, I don't think the idea that the guys that go in ahead of everything else, that's not what they're talking about, because those guys in theory will bug out. What they're talking about is mass troop mobilizations a la Iraq or Afghanistan, or a small trickle force that grows over time into one of those, which is exactly how Iraq happened. The American people, even if they haven't served in the military, aren't dumb about it, except maybe the ones that didn't serve in the military and voted for a guy who said that prisoners of war were suckers and losers and weren't real heroes. That guy. Your guy.
I guess that's what most of you assume.
No, they don't.
Hasn't been. Well,
let me tell you what.
If that's what you assume, I want to tell you
that it makes an ass out of you and me. Mostly me, because the U isn't really fully spelled. There's only one letter there, and the whole word me is there, so I feel like a right ass.
You're wrong.
Wow, that hurts. Take it back.
And maybe maybe we are not on the same page about what we consider troops on the ground.
Okay, none of us are considering troops on the ground. We're considering boots on the ground, which is troops in country. It's important not to mix that because I don't want our troops dead on the ground, I suppose. That sounds very bad.
Do you mean any members of the United States Special Operations Forces? Or do you mean by troops on the ground?
Again, boots, but sure.
A mass invasion of...
They mean a mass invasion. Most people mean a mass invasion.
Conventional forces. Because I can assure you, there have been U.S. military personnel on the ground in
Yeah, we know. That's not the point at all.
Iran and pretty much all these other places.
Thanks, bro.
Already. You know, Donald Trump and the Surgeon General Hegseth, they like to tout this.
I don't know why he thinks that's an insult, except that RFK is like maybe means kind of Maha related, or I know what it is. He considers Hegseth to be the Fauci of the war. Maybe that's it.
Thing about where...
Hey, I don't know. Nobody asked me, and so who gives a shit?
You know, they can do what they need to do by just simply flying over with airplanes and dropping bombs and missiles, and this is the way that they can, you know, fight.
Well, you drop bombs, you fire missiles, but we'll put a pin in that for later.
War now. And act like, you know, you don't need the soldier anymore. Look, man.
Hey, I'm not interrupting you. Go ahead and say your piece. I did. Why does he feel like? Is there a voice in your head that's going, "Shut up"?
The human element of war.
Never gets old.
It'll be interesting to see if it ever gets removed.
Yeah, super interesting. Not the fucking point.
If the human element of warfare is ever, like, no longer part of the picture.
Ever no longer? Sure.
Maybe one day it will be. Maybe we'll just fight with
Jewish space lasers?
Robots one day. But I don't
know if I want... I mean, that would be better and yet worse at the same time.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
And there's one thing that's for sure.
It ain't right now.
We're not there yet.
Yep, we ain't there yet, buddy. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Eastbound, just watch old Bandit run.
You understand
that you are treading water in quicksand right now, trying to make sense of all this horseshit because you pushed a guy on the electorate and the presidency that was an obvious dipshit, views himself as an elite, and does not value the lives of our soldiers? I'm sorry, I interrupted you again. Please.
That there needs to be people. U.S. military.
Yep.
People.
I understand the people part. You said people already.
And other people.
Also, there will be. But will there be people, is my question to you. Going back to, if I may hit that point earlier in your interview, when I'm very curious about the possibility that people be involved in any way, if you could. So, what's the...
Very. People.
Yes, people, I
and
understand.
Other people, Americans that are part of three-letter...
And also people...
agencies.
You mean the IRS and the NSA and the PGA and other NGOs?
Need to be on the ground prior to these airstrikes. They're gathering intel. They're watching the target, right? They're calling...
Yeah, but you probably believe that bird in that tree is real.
And a lot of these airstrikes. They're confirming that they hit. They're observing the aftermath.
They're waiting outside of a restaurant until that waitress comes out so they can follow her home. Sorry. That, not them, me. Sorry. People do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
sure. And what?
Just wanted to give y'all a little sanity check on this one.
I'm sorry, you totally missed the mark on that one, friend. I'm sure this dude is a crack shot and an excellent soldier, but he was wide off the bullseye on that one.
As you squabble over whether or not there's going to be troops on the ground.
Nobody's saying troops on the ground. It's boots on the ground, meaning troops are in country. Don't believe me? Ask Little Bunny Fuck You and his friend. Fuck you. Right.
In Iran. Little reality check there for
Yeah, reality, sanity. Sometimes they overlap, most times not.
you. Anyways,
if you want to see more of this shit, like and subscribe. Sorry, that was a tooth sibilance from just doing that face. That was piercing. I'm sorry if anybody's their good china cracked. That was my bad. Listen here. You boys can't allow this kind of shit to go on unless you do. Now, one of the big things about we've been watching. Oh, okay. Do I want to go this? Yeah. In the turd polishing that is going on around this, avoid talking about how bad this is going. The Epstein files, the economy, gas prices. How can you not talk about this stuff? Well, we've seen like 3 master classes in that so far, but no one holds a candle to the most miserable man on the internet who, by the way, the lovely folks at Newsmax have shortened the length of his clips to 1 minute and 46 seconds. They were giving him three whole minutes for a couple of weeks there. Now they've cut them in less than half. Greg Kelly, Trump's signature on U.S. money is actually kind of cool. It's actually kind of douchey.
What? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, his face going to be color.
The plan is... No.
Also, that's not his signature.
Oh, we've taken that a little bit further. It's not going to be like that.
No, it's not again.
It's still going to be George Washington on the $1 bill.
Yeah, we know.
All right, don't worry, anybody. However, the signature will be on the lower left there, Donald Trump, starting in the summertime. Not every piece of currency in circulation, but some, and it's
just the kind that Don Jr. rolls up and snorts through.
Going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's going
to be great. It's going to be exciting. You're going to forget all about this war silliness and the economy and gas prices. You know, right about the time Americans are using cash less and less.
To be a little bit different.
Because it's a different signature? Well, sorry. That probably means the money's going to be worth less, right?
And why not? Why not?
For the first time in American history, the signature of a sitting president will soon be featured on U.S. currency.
The Treasury...
Because he's a desperate, short-dicked weenie who needs every ego boost he can possibly get.
Department announced Thursday it's adding President Trump's signature alongside Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to some bills. Historically, the bills have only had the signatures of Treasury officials, making this a first for a sitting president.
How
about that? What a waste of fucking time and money.
About that.
No pun intended.
Any more details? Let's see. We have signature will replace the U.S. Treasurer's name.
Yeah, so Bessent is getting bumped.
Okay. $100 bill will change first. It's set to happen in June. I think it's fine. I think it's actually kind of cool. Now, a lot of people aren't using as much cash as they used to, right?
Right, and this should really put the stake through the heart of cash.
I saw a kid the other day buy bubble gum with an Amex card.
Why were you following children around candy stores?
And whose signature is on there now, right? I mean, nobody really knows.
The Treasury Secretary, the Treasury of the United States, and the Secretary of the Treasury go on there because it's effectively they're signing on the fact that it is a Federal Reserve note.
Like, this is what's currently in circulation.
Yeah, we know how it works, stupid.
Who are these people? Who?
This is because Trump is never going to have his face on currency, so he's trying to do this.
Who the hell are these people?
Jesus. Who the hell are these people? That was Janet Yellen, the last head of Treasury Secretary. And by the way, that's the end of the video. I would like to say they give him a minute and a half, and that was it. Who the hell are these people? Cut. So, why would you have to work so hard to cover what Trump is doing? Like, and by the way, you'll see, if you think that the maggot war is going to fade sometime soon, there's this guy, Jesse Kelly. We've seen a couple of clips from him. He usually freaks out about communists. That's his big thing. Communists and atheist communists, something. Democrat, atheist communists is his big worry. But low T GOP exposed is the low testosterone. I don't know that anybody can argue that these guys have low T, except that they're elderly. Red state Republicans caught trying to pass amnesty bills. Wait a minute. Amnesty bills? Hold on. Amnesty. Red state trying to cut amnesty. There we go. Thank you very much. It took me a minute to find it. One of these days I'll have a big screen where everything can be on it together. Anyways, so red state Republicans caught trying to pass amnesty bills for immigrants. Let them stay.
Now, we'll talk about Democrats first. We'll focus on them, although that's not where I'm actually going with this.
Right, because we're not the problem.
We're going to get to the GOP and failure theater, but first, we understand what the Democrats want.
See, that's what I said.
It's very obvious to anybody who's paying attention.
You're the one with a red set. I don't know what to tell you.
The notion that they're just well-meaning, just a little misguided. Surely we've put such childish notions aside. Right now, the communists in the United States of America are painfully aware of something I hope you have accepted. The mass importation of foreigners guarantees they will get power and hold power forever in this country.
No, it won't. I mean, the only way Democrats could count on immigrants always voting Democrat, which they don't, but the only way you could count on that is if you can count on Republicans being racist forever. Actually, he might have a point.
The mass importation of foreigners guarantees.
Right, because even when those people are valuable parts of the community and are necessary skilled workers for jobs that we need filled, or are good people just seeking to live free, the Republicans are going to hate them because they're brown.
That if we mass deport foreigners, the Democrat Party completely ceases to exist. And I'm not making that a stretch. Please.
Yeah, you are.
Understand that. I don't mean Democrats are going to become the 40-60 party. Democrats are a 20% party in this country if we deport foreigners. And you may deny that, but Democrats know it full well.
I'm a Democrat, and no, that's horseshit.
Why do you think they fight so hard to bring them here, keep them here? And
fairness, lack of a racist hinge point in our soul that just kind of slaps shut the second they see someone of color or has an accent or speaks a foreign language.
Why would they fight so hard against having to show ID, American citizenship, to vote? It's such a...
Because it costs money to show an ID, to have an ID, and therefore it's a poll tax.
Simple concept.
No, it isn't. Make it free. That's a simple concept.
80% of Americans support it. Well, Democrats know those numbers. So why would they take the 20% side of an 80% issue? Because if they relent on this issue, if they relent, they're done. Their very existence is at stake. Here's what they've been saying.
Underneath the surface, the SAVE Act is a voter purge bill. Most of its core elements don't even talk about voter ID.
The SAVE Act is a...
Right. That's in him going, I'm okay with voter ID, again, as long as we provide one to voters for free. But the other shit in this bill is the problem.
Massive voter suppression bill that would make it very difficult for millions of Americans, especially women who have changed their name on their birth certificate no longer matches the name on their real ID or driver's license. It would cause chaos to voting and really shrink the voting rolls 5 or 10%.
His bill would make it more difficult for people who generally are not inclined to vote for him to vote. It would make it harder to get They have to show identification, and some of that identification is passports or birth certificates that are hard to come up with, and most difficult for people who are less likely to vote for Trump.
This bill is about stopping groups from voting who tend to vote for Democrats. This is,
That would the key word being citizens.
again, about rigging the next election.
Republicans will make it harder for you to vote. Because if this bill passes, you will need to show a photo ID and proof of citizenship in every single state. But a student ID won't count.
I call it Jim Crow 2.0, and it is that. It makes it more difficult. The thing that
This guy looks like a character from the Jetsons.
most Americans should be able to do.
Only American citizens can vote in American elections. Nobody's trying to change that.
That clip doesn't work for your point, I think, at this point.
Non-citizen voting in federal elections is already illegal. It is a federal crime. If a non-citizen illegally votes in a federal election, they could be prosecuted and even sentenced up to 5 years in prison. Who is going to commit this kind of fraud knowing that they could be in prison for 5 years?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The modern Democrat Party is evil. Is it?
They're obvious. They come out and say it.
They didn't. No one in there said, we need all these foreigners in the country because without those votes, we will no longer be a party, which I think was your point.
They've imported so many foreigners now, especially in these blue districts. They feel comfortable saying things on television that no politician in America in history, Republican or Democrat, would ever say. I mean,
exactly what? Quote one of them. In the clip you just showed. Don't go all bongholio on me.
How bonkers it is that Chris Murphy can go on television and say this, and he doesn't have any fear.
It has failed to deliver for the people we care about most, the undocumented Americans that are in this country.
Okay, we got it.
I see. So because he said we care about most the undocumented, that's where he's getting it from.
Democrats are communists. They're demonic. They're evil. They're trying to burn down the country. We got it.
All right. Thank you for simplifying it.
All right. Now, you know the other night?
No, I don't. I don't remember it at all.
I was out of town with my wife. Out of town. We were an hour away, but my kid had a track meet, and we were on the way to the track meet. We were hungry.
Great story so far.
Now, I wanted In-N-Out burger. I'm telling you right now, I wanted In-N-Out burger. That was my agenda. I knew there was an In-N-Out burger coming up, and that's what I wanted. And I knew Ob, the health freak, I knew she wasn't going to go for In-N-Out burger. And I want a salad or something like that. I knew what I was going to get. But
I guess that's his wife.
I also knew something else. Years ago, Ob had a bad experience at Applebee's. We don't have to get into the details. I like Applebee's. She had a bad experience.
So you gave her the choice. Applebee's or In-N-Out, food poisoning or what I want to eat. It's a marriage made in heaven.
One of those experiences where she said, I'll never eat there again. Okay. So we're driving towards the track meet.
And you manipulated your wife because you're not a man enough to have a real conversation?
And I said, I'm hungry. And she said, I'm hungry too. And I said, well, we got two choices in this area. She said, what are they? I said, we got Applebee's or we got In-N-Out burger. And she said, oh, God, well, I can't eat at Applebee's. Let's go to In-N-Out burger.
So if you give her a false choice, she'll choose your choice. I think you really should run the country.
You see, what I did was wrong, deceitful. What I did was I gave her the illusion of choice. There was no choice.
Well, no, she has a phone. She could have looked it up. But, obviously she's not into deep questions. She's married to you.
I knew there was no choice. The Republican Party in many ways exists to give you, the voter, me, the voter, the illusion of choice.
Okay, I like this part so far. Okay, this is all right. Go for it. So the Republican Party, a bunch of fakers, and they're like, vote for us or vote for the one that gave you food poisoning before, as if okay, even within the party.
We
I
know
guess.
Democrats are demonic, communists, and evil.
No, I don't think you've made that case, but let's go with that's the assumption in your car.
We know they're trying to bring the country down.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about unemployment rates, sure. Or the number of cases of, say, a communicable disease, or the number of traffic fatalities and gun deaths and stuff. Those we definitely want to bring down, I would say.
And so we want opposition. We want someone to stop the demons from burning the country down.
And we're really getting into lesser of two evil territory right now. I'm liking this. I'm not going to give him the same advice that I give you guys, though.
Introduce you to 3 Republicans, and I want you to keep something in mind. All 3 of these Republicans are from red states. I could get elected in any one of these states.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think the stuff just of how you lie to your wife would probably it would hamstring you. It would certainly be a boost amongst the primary voters, but statewide.
If I ran for Senate and actually earned the Republican nomination, these states could.
Yeah, those are 2 big ifs.
Elect anybody. This is who they send to the Senate.
I'm the only candidate advocating a comprehensive approach that includes a long, hard-earned pathway to citizenship.
And I just like saying long and hard.
There's some people saying we need to limit legal immigration. To me, they're just looking at a different world than I am. We'll be down to 2 workers for every retiree in the next 20 years. We're going to need more legal immigration.
Do you think that whatever you're working on will have to include a path to citizenship for dreamers?
I do. I've been pretty outspoken on that for even last September.
Wow, they might as well be evil communist Democrats.
Senator Tillis and I both put out a proposal to get citizenship for those individuals that are in the DACA program or were eligible for the DACA program.
DACA recipients must have a permanent legislative solution. They deserve nothing.
Or Texas's economy will explode.
Unless. We need to take action and pass legislation that will unequivocally allow these young men and women to stay in the only home, in the only country they've known. In the past, I've supported a number of bills that would have.
This does sound evil.
Allowed these individuals to remain in the United States without fear of a court decision hanging in the balance. But each time, partisan disagreements have prevented us from turning anything into law.
Partisan disagreements? You mean the rest of your party?
Madam President,
you didn't have a problem with any Democrats. Not a fucking one. Not Joe Manchin, not Kristen Sinema, was she part of, not John Fetterman, not anything, not a single fucking one.
When it comes to immigration laws, Congress, on a bipartisan basis, never fails to fail.
Do we need then to anyone who's here illegally that hasn't committed a crime, Senator Curtis, should there be a path to citizenship? Is that what compassion means to you, or should these people not be allowed to stay?
Well, then let me ask you a question. Is there any law, any rule broken in our country where we don't have a consequence defined? So why don't we have a consequence defined when it comes to coming into this country without documentation? We continue to allow these people to be here, but we haven't defined what their consequence is.
So that's an inaction from policymakers?
Absolutely.
All right, so what would you say we need to do then? What's your answer?
Pass a deportation law or a set of standards, which we already have. I don't know who the hell this guy is, but this is just dumb.
Answer to that. I get, is
like
it
every other.
And by the way, Adam Schiff is doing exactly what he needs to do right here, which is let these 2 assholes dig a hole and jump into it.
So first of all, you have to define amnesty, but any other crime that's committed here in our country, we define what we define what the punishment is. And we've failed to do that in this case.
I misspoke. I said 3 Republicans. That's 4. South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah. Blood red states.
Yeah, but also, like a lot of other red states, economies more reliant on immigrant labor than the blue states.
Those are the senators they send. And those senators get to Washington, D.C., not to fight for you or me, not to fight against the demonic communists. They go there to control.
To become demonic communists.
You, to control me. They go there to present you and me with the illusion of choice.
Do you live in those states? Vote for somebody else. I don't know what to tell you.
And so, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to play the John Thune soundbite about the SAVE
don't.
Act and reconciliation. And
we don't need to hear it.
We might do this, and we might do... I'm tired of failure theater because I understand the game now. I'm sure you understand the game now as well.
Yes. If you're going to vote Republican, don't vote. I hear you. Great plan.
I'm tired of the illusion of choice. I would like a real choice from now on.
Does anybody think this sounds familiar? This conversation from this asshole, does this remind you of anybody, let's say, on our side of the aisle, that put us into a situation where not only the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the White House, but also, more specifically, the SCOTUS and a myriad of judges across the country? Does this sound like the kind of people who got us into this situation in the first place?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Can you think of anybody on the Democratic side or the liberal side or the progressive side that's been sounding off exactly like this dickhead for the better part of the last decade and specifically undercut the people in their own party that have to play ball because their state isn't as blood red or deep blue as they think it is? Anybody? This is the purity test. This is it happening. And I want you to view it in the context of what's going to happen this fall. And if the lesson we take away from it, besides the fact that there must be a blue tsunami, is that kind of shit will always sweep the leg of your party. Now, don't get me wrong. He views what are effectively establishment or rank and file Republicans as the enemy now because he's an asshole. And he views Donald Trump as an innocent victim of his own choices and thinks that if it wasn't for Thune and all these other, and Cornyn and other folks like that, that he would have just from deep within his soul made all the right maggot decisions. And I see no evidence that that's true, but it doesn't matter because this is about belief. And yes, absolutely. TYT is always the first group that comes to mind. There is zero difference from the argument that this asshole is making about how Republicans should vote this fall and certainly in 2028 and what TYT said that got the Jill Stein voters and others to undercut Obama, Biden, and Harris ultimately. Cost her the election. And what I will say is the hardest thing that there are two things when you run into a maggot at the No Kings rally when they're standing there holding up signs or yelling shit. You guys will remember that at the first one here in Las Vegas, when I was walking in it, there were a couple of people along the way that were Trumpies. And my only question for them is, how long would it have taken you to figure out that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile? And they all say 30 seconds. I'd have known in 5 minutes. I'm like, well, then why did it take Trump a quarter century? Why does he still disagree with it now? There is a similar situation right now about Trump himself, and how do we get out of Afghanistan with dignity and beauty and still keep Bagram and stay forever? How do you go into a country and take the oil without a forever war? These are all questions that they seem to be waking up to, but fear asking, especially about Trump. So I'm enjoying that part of it. I hope you are too. If you do, hit the like, share the show, etc., etc. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. There's my pointer. It gets carried away. I think I have to make my pointer like bright orange and the size of my thumb because I have so many goddamn screens. Okay. So more Republican on Republican shit. Well, I don't even know that we even have to look at this. But this is Joey Pags, aka Timu Bosch. Thune flies home, you're in line. Look at him walking right past because he's probably got TSA pre, the prick, and clear. I have both because I fly a lot. Recess is for kids. Mike Davis calls out Senate betrayal.
Did you hear 3 o'clock in the morning is when they did it? The Senate decided we're going to go home, going to go on recess, and we don't really care if we fund ICE or CBP. Remember, President Trump won this election because he said I'm going to close the border, and he did it. And he did it right away.
Right, but then he had to get the funding to keep it closed in the big bullshit bill, even though he lied and said you don't need a new bill, you just need a new president. And then ultimately he did have to fund the entire thing. So that's why there's all that funding, including, by the way, funding for most of DHS and certainly ICE. They got more money than they could ever use, but he and his grifters are burning through that cash. God knows how, but they are.
This could mess everything up without...
Oh, no. Not when everything's so perfect and running so well.
ICE without CBP having money and then paying TSA and Coast Guard and FEMA, that makes the DHS only partially funded still, yet the Senate gets to go home. They got to get their butts back. I sat down with Mike Davis from the Article 3 Project, and we talk about exactly what Thune has to do, or else maybe he should go. You've got the Senate playing games. They've got the majority.
Is he at TPUSA or some shit?
Kept saying, give us the majority, we'll do it all. And they're not doing it all.
Yeah, that's because they suck. Again, the motto of the Republican Party is government can't do anything right. Elect me and I'll prove it.
Thune decided, let's go on break. Let's only fund part of the DHS.
Why are you yelling?
So I can.
He's right in front of you. You're spitting on his collar.
And fly home through the TSA and not fund ICE or CBP. What are your thoughts when you hear about them not having a backbone? When you know what the Senate majority would do if they were the Democrats, they'd slam anything they wanted down our throats.
No, they passed it. That's the thing. The Infrastructure Act, the ACA, they got the votes. They took a lot of time to do it. You have this revisionist history that you slap about. Is it CPAC? Yeah, that you slap about saying that Democrats just, rode roughshod over the rules when they followed every single one. Nobody's ever read the ACA. It's 3,000 pages. Meanwhile, the big BS bill is like, 10,000 pages, and they were like proud that they never read it.
What do you think about Thune?
I always say the DC swamp is the only place on the planet where the reptiles lack backbones.
That's so good. It's funny. Yeah.
It's a good point because he's going home now. He's home.
So sorry, let me be clear. A Republican senator has no spine, no backbone, and this is your party.
They're not working on anything. And the House has said we're rejecting it. So now what happens?
I think what Senate Republicans need to do is they need
quit
to stick together.
They have a better chance quitting, I think.
And they need to pass these must-pass pieces of legislation.
Which they don't have the votes for.
Including funding our immigration enforcement.
Yes.
That's pretty important.
Yeah, I would think so.
Also, they need to pass the SAVE Act, Save America Act, to make sure that illegal immigrants are not illegally voting in American elections.
Right.
They aren't already. It's amazing. Just consider it passed and move on.
Well, that would be good, Mike.
Yeah.
But that sounds like it's pie in the sky. We have the majority. We're not getting anything done.
Well, that's because they're assholes. They don't actually want to do anything. I mean, this is a party of obstruction. You can't exactly give the government more power if you're against it having power in the first place. They're kind of operating at cross purposes.
Let's focus for a second on the whole filibuster garbage. You and I talked about it, James A.
Oh yeah, get rid of the filibuster. Knock yourself out. Pass this through, and then lose to the Democrats and have us take over the Senate with no filibuster. Are you starting to understand why Thune doesn't want to do this? Because he's seen the polls. He sees the way this is going. If they were just going to lose the House, there's a chance they might try this shit. But now they're looking at the numbers and they're going, holy fuck, we're going to lose the Senate too. Then what? You've eliminated it for this run? Why would the Democrats not just vote to keep the rules as they are? What are you going to do? Try to push through in the minority, push through rules for the Senate that put it back in? Because that's what you'll have to do. They'll have to go through committee in January, and when they're revising the rules for the Senate, and reinstate the filibuster to cover their ass.
Put it in place to get to a cloture. It wasn't to extend things. He said, you're taking too long in the Senate. Get me a bill. I want to sign it. And it worked that way for a long time. Then they changed it to a 60-vote majority instead of 67. Then they said, and you don't even have to really filibuster. Just wave at us. They say, we're going to go have a martini. We're filibustering. We're calling it the talking filibuster. That's just the normal filibuster, isn't it? Where you have to actually debate until you can't anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lazy filibuster where you just say we need 60 votes or we can't pass legislation.
Right.
That's
You
just
don't have to do anything.
That's just not how it works in this Senate. You have to have 60
Actually, it does.
votes to invoke cloture, which cuts off unlimited debate in the Senate. The Senate, you can debate as long as you want. You have a 2-debate rule, meaning each senator can debate 2 times on the same bill in one legislative day.
And eventually it runs out. Time runs out.
You run out. You just wear them down. If Senate Republicans would just keep Senate Democrats in session and grind them out, we could pass these bills. You do not need 60 votes to pass the SAVE Act. You need to wear out Senate Democrats, and you can pass it with 50 votes plus the vice president.
You know it's not going to work? If they look at us in the camera and say, give us 60 members, then we'll do it.
No.
You're not getting 60. You're going to have 49.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they don't want to get rid of the filibuster, dickhead, because that's going to happen anyways. And if they get rid of the filibuster to do this, it will drive more people to vote against the Senate. Like in the red states, they'll vote against their senator. And I mean, I don't want to encourage these dickheads, but that's what's going to happen if they try it. Good Lord. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to jump around a bunch because there's no way I'm going to be able to cover all this shit tonight. Hold on, I'm going to close some of these windows. Let's go to how well, like somebody earlier was like, he's gonna screw up everything. Like they're gonna vote wrong and it'll ruin everything. Well, guess what? It's already pre-ruined. Trump's approval rating. This is live now from Fox. Trump's approval rating dips amid Iran war, gas price surge. You don't say.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
I'm Shauna Kalafi.
Hi, Shauna.
A live look at the White House on this Sunday, and we have new reporting from Fox News, a new poll from Fox showing that President Trump's approval rating is taking a hit. This Fox News poll shows President Trump's approval rating dipped to 41% in March,
And by the way, this is high for him. This is the Fox News poll.
59% of registered voters now disapprove of him. That is the highest disapproval of either of his terms.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And Republican approval fell to a second-term low of 84%.
Really? I'm amazed. And they don't want to get rid of the filibuster right before the midterms?
That's down from 92% last March. Among Democrats, 95% disapprove, marking the 4th time this term that Democratic disapproval of Trump reaches a record high. Among independents, 25% approve and 75% disapprove.
Damn. Those are old Democratic numbers, like Democratic Party numbers from like George H.W. Bush. You know what I mean? Like that used to be what kind of your run-of-the-mill Republican could count on from Democrats. About 25% approve, 75% disapprove, and they're just being, and the 25% that approve are just being nice. Office of the Presidency and all that.
That was posted by Fox News earlier this.
Ow, at 2 Fox? Damn, it's who could have seen that coming except fucking everybody. All right, now I'm jumping around like I said. I move out Alex Stein or this, and we went through the MAGA revolt, and then we went through that guy. Okay, so one of the reasons why is the Iran war. Clearly is dragging on both Trump and everybody, and the rest of the party. They all know it. They're all mad. They're all screaming. They won't say it in public, but that's what's going on. But in the meantime, someone is undermining the war. And it used to be Joe Kent, apparently. He was leaking. And again, you can't leak a lie. So everything he said was true. And you can't say the truth right now. It looks like shit. Well, guess what? The leaking is still ongoing. Who is leaking this info? Did Woke Reich leak private Vance Netanyahu phone call? Well, I don't know. My question is, why would that be bad? What was, and I'm curious what was in it.
I tend to think that the people who are telling you that
Totally.
we're losing this, those are probably the people who
Yeah.
also believe that in words like
They probably believe that my lips are actually this plump naturally.
Latinx and also cis and all of the other, I mean, they believe in made up nonsense, for the lack of a better way to put it. I was reading.
Sorry, is she talking about Republicans who believe in cis as in cisgender and Latinx? That's
a story on the Ukrainian anti-drone technology, which has apparently been very effective against the Iranian-built drones that Russia's been using, and they're using these in the Strait now. And they have to have the jamming turned off so that they can, basically take them out. And apparently, that's been going quite well.
Thanks, Ukraine. Wow. Go figure. Maybe Biden was right about that too.
And it looks like the United States' position in these negotiations day by day just continues to get stronger and stronger.
When we're negotiating with the guy, the negotiator guy, the big number one, numero uno honcho, the Duke of New York. That's who it was. Hey, number one.
There were
y'all the Duke. Hey, number one.
A couple of tankers that had LNG that were cleared to go through the Strait.
Right, because Iran needs the money, and they're letting stuff go to China
They were bound for India.
and India.
India's Petroleum and Natural Gas Ministry says 2 Indian liquefied petroleum gas carriers are en route to India after transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And
two whole tankers. Wow, we're almost back to normal. What was the normal number of ships through the passage hourly? 170 or something like that?
Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt are also considering a consortium to manage oil flows through the Strait. They've invited Pakistan to join.
With their Marines, and their Navy.
You're getting all of these Middle Eastern nations together against Iran and on the side of the United States.
More on the side of China.
This was a bad weekend for the we're losing people.
Yeah, I know. Is it ever a good weekend for losers?
They really have to.
Oh, it was actually, because Trump said he likes losers. So maybe this is just them going, he likes me. He really does.
Work hard to ignore all it. You know why? They don't understand any of this.
Probably not.
They don't understand any of it. You're listening to absolute morons who don't even view reading as a hobby.
I'm sorry, you're talking about Bongholio, or?
These are people who have no idea what's going on in this part of the world.
Oh, you are talking about Bongholio. Okay.
I mean, very slowly, bit by bit, the Iranians are ceding transit through the Strait to Trump, bit by bit by bit.
No, they're not. They're just directly selling their oil and their LNG to China and India.
That's going to ease the oil markets when it
not really
fully when it's fully open, and it's all.
Yes, that's true. When it is fully open, that will ease. Sure. Yeah. When will that be?
Already started.
Oh, I see. It's already started because 2 boats went through.
Again, this is the United States waiting them out. This is without having to do any other type of escalation. They know.
Then why are we escalating?
Trump is going to follow through on these threats. He just wants it done and done, in and out, get it done, knock it off.
Yeah, like a duck mating.
And I don't know how you can think, unless you're a moron on geopolitical issues, there is no way you look at this and think that the United States is the weaker entity or that the United States is losing ground on this.
Yeah, I don't expect that we are in the short term because of the enormity of our military. That's not the point. That doesn't mean you're actually gaining ground just because you're bombing more shit.
There is zero way. It is all incredibly strong.
Except for all they need are a couple of rowboats to drop mines in the area, and just the threat of mines alone will stop traffic getting back to normal.
I mean, you have, these 10 tankers that were Pakistani flagged. They were released to the Strait, gifted to Americans.
They were not. They went straight to China.
And then it was, I think it was the $3.2 billion worth of oil on this. That's not a position of weakness.
It kind of is.
Where are all the people that rah-rah Trump? Notice how many of them, all of a sudden, that are in Podcastistan. immediately start parodying.
But she means on, like, not just like Dave Smith stuff, but on Tucker as well.
The left and the leg, they're no different from the left on this. The people who say we're losing in Iran are literally the left. They are no different from the left.
Yeah, they are. I mean, because they don't believe in women's rights, gay rights, immigration rights, a social safety net for the poor, fair housing, and a decent housing market so that everybody can get a piece of the American dream, good roads, rural broadband, all the things that were in the Infrastructure Act and the Chips and Science Act.
Absolutely no different from the
Well, a couple. Just the ones I mentioned though.
left.
By the way, this is Lana Douche, in case anybody doesn't know. She used to be the spokesperson for the NRA before they were taken over as a wholly owned subsidiary of the KGB or / the GRU. Whoops.
So, I mean, you've had also, in the past 24 hours, you had the specialist involved in Iran's nuclear program who was killed in strikes. So
he didn't die of natural causes? You mean because the IDF killed him?
This is the other line of their, I guess, the remaining of their hardliners. You had the Brigadier General Abbas Karami. He was a commander and he was killed in Tehran. The guy.
It's great. So, $8 billion a day, or like $2 billion a day. 2 guys. Maybe it's a guy per billion.
Who was involved in Iran's nuclear program was killed in a village outside of Tehran. The Bashed field commander, he was killed. Another IRGC air defense operator, he's out. He was nixed. The guy in the Ministry of Defense that oversaw the military dimension of the nuke program, that guy was also nixed. I mean, more.
But the rest of his team is still fine.
More and more, you have these very, very targeted.
So we're nailing middle management
strikes to take out these IRGC, the remaining, any of the stragglers left, squirt patrol, as it were. They're on squirt patrol. Let's just put it like that. Very successful. But there are people who want you to think that we're losing.
I don't think the problem is that, quote, we're losing, that it's a losing proposition, that you won't be able to accomplish these goals without boots on the ground, and you won't be able to, declare victory and leave, because if they reconstitute, their only salvation will be having a nuke. So that will be singularly what they do. And they'll end up buying one from Pakistan and using that as a threat to protect themselves while they continue to make their own.
They need you to think that we're losing. They want to turn the tide. They are trying to usher in multipolarity.
Yes, it's a New World Order.
Communist idea. The multipolarity that is being pushed by the likes of Tucker Carlson and all of these other people in Podcastistan, it is just a different, it's the same tactic of a different subject. It's very similar in terms of critical race theory and DEI.
Okay, so basically Tucker's for DEI, even if he doesn't know it now.
That looks at everything culturally. Multipolarity is that, but in a geopolitical sphere, in the context of geopolitics. It's the same formula. It's about division and weakening the West. It is the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a goal of Tucker Carlson, but I don't think it has any impact on the decision making that Trump is doing. I think he's making these stupid moves himself.
Now, in the meantime, this is interesting.
I'll be the judge of that.
Lorraine had a post that got into some of this that aired or that dropped last week. I think it was Friday. And I noticed this. It was a call that had been released.
Okay, so this is the Netanyahu-Vance call,
which I thought was very interesting. This call that it was and this was the last post. This is the top post right now over at Substack, Lorraine's, that gets into some of this back channel stuff with this released call, right?
Oh my God, not released though.
So out of Vance's office, let me pull this story up. It was released that he had a phone call with Netanyahu. And the headline is J.D. Vance intense call with Netanyahu as he rips Israel's prime minister for selling the idea of an easy Iran war to Trump. Now, the individual who wrote this, Philip Neto, is...
Neato.
The exact same guy who runs all of Tucker Carlson's. He runs Tucker Carlson's leaked stories at Daily Mail.
Dun, dun. Sorry. Is this like a Trump cabinet problem where they just don't have that many friends?
Nieto used to be over at Daily Caller. He's known Tucker Carlson for a long time. He's worked with Tucker Carlson. So I think it's very not coincidental that he ran this story. The only way for anybody to know about this story is if someone in Vance's office directly leaked it to Neto.
Damn. I thought it was Neato. Not anymore.
My thought is it's Vance's deputy press secretary, who happens to be Tucker Carlson's son.
Ooh, Buckley.
Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this.
Yes, but it's hard to see it no matter what you do with your head so far up your ass. So
it's that, I mean, it really gets into the details of Vance's call with him.
Oh, no.
I don't know why anyone would leak this unless it's to further highlight the tension between Trump and Vance.
What tension?
Because remember, for Vance to ascend, Trump has to be politically taken down.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize. Okay, cool. This is a new twist on this. So the new conspiracy theory is, and this is, I guess we just line this up with what Candace Owens has been saying about shit. So basically Vance, who had a really weird hug with Erica Kirk at Charlie's Memorial monster truck rally, he has to pull an Erica Kirk with Trump, metaphorically speaking, or possibly real, but maybe not.
MAGA has to be entirely destroyed for Vance to ascend. Why?
That should be easy, though. I mean, maybe Trump is trying to help him out. I mean, no one is doing more damage to MAGA than Trump right now. So I don't. What am I? Mission accomplished?
Is that because MAGA will go with Trump?
Well, unless he, So that's what they're hoping for. So okay, wait. So that means if Trump kicks, and I am not advocating for this, I don't wish harm on anybody specifically. I won't mind when it happens to some people. I won't go, I won't jump through my shirt, wailing and gnashing my teeth. But I mean, like, well, should we order in or should we go out? So if something awful happens to Trump or he keels over of natural causes and you guys don't believe it and you're looking for somebody to blame, Vance is top of your list? I gotta say that's
not good.
Actually, no, I disagree. I think it's as good as
potatoes and chicken.
All right.
When Trump's out of office, MAGA will be out of office.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I don't necessarily think I'm part of MAGA. I voted for the president 3 times. I had a different choice in the primary. The only reason anyone knows that is because I told them.
How dare you?
And but I call balls and
Who the fuck did you vote for? DeSantis?
Strikes. Trump's base has been very supportive and has really been supporting him through this solid decision with Iran.
It totally is. It's a solid decision.
Now, in order for the Vance ascendancy to take place in
the Vance ascendancy, is there an Operation Vance ascendancy we should be on the lookout for?
28. Trump has got to be, his reputation has to be in tatters. And I feel like there is a faction in the White House that is using Iran to do it. I don't feel it. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think so.
How does this call get released?
Vance actually wants it because he has to separate himself from Trump's stuff. So Vance actually put it out. Makes the most sense.
And then there were people who then started.
I mean, it really does. I got to say. I mean, fuck, I don't care. But Vance releasing it to distance himself from ties to Netanyahu specifically to win over MAGA, I got to tell you, it's like one of the only paths available to him.
Accusing Netanyahu of planting the story, which is one of the dumbest, most mentally aborted things I can think of. It
I doubt it. I've heard you speak.
it doesn't make him look positive. Why would he leak something like this?
Because it makes him look positive with the MAGA crowd.
Who does it stand to benefit that that's kind of
Bono. Battle for control of the party goes global. Iran is demanding to speak to J.D. Vance instead of Witkoff and Kushner. The fight between the factions in the White House is now global. This is from Lorraine. Oh, I guess this woman Lorraine on her Substack.
story would leak to the press. It stands to benefit Vance more than anybody. So now you see the purpose of having Carlson's son as his deputy press secretary.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to put the 2 and 4 together.
Stories like this.
Jeez. Carry, I believe 7.
This can get leaked out. Marco Rubio has been getting a lot of attention because he is Secretary
The shortest person in the picture.
of State.
Oh, that's why. That was my second guess.
There's a lot of whispering that it steps on the toes of Vance's circle because he's supposed to look like the heir apparent. Guys, the 2028 catfighting has already started.
And okay.
This is further evidence of it. This was leaked out to make it seem like Vance was just as much as involved, is as involved in all of this as Rubio is. No one ever said he wasn't. But it's a tell. Whoever leaked the story is not really good with political opposition. And they're not really good with controlling the narratives, because whenever you leak stuff like this and whenever you decide to play these sort of palace intrigue games, you're never supposed to make your principal, the person on behalf of whom you're operating, look as though they are sensitive to any kind of competition or that they are even watching any kind of rivals, because this just exposed it.
Okay, so you have convinced me. I think Vance did it because he's an idiot. How about that?
This is one of the dumbest leaks I think possible, and to leak it to somebody who's known to just constantly take stuff from Carlson is like,
why don't I have popcorn right now? What the hell?
At their name on it and run it in Daily Mail. This
Who's laughing now?
is one of the worst kept secrets, by the way, in media. I know all of these people. It's one of the worst kept secrets. Remember, I've written columns for Daily Mail.
Awesome.
Hey friends, quick ask.
I'm not going to do an ad. Hooray. Honest to God, like, why, like, this is working out. I just got to say, I like the way this is trending. I also like the idea that they might try to get rid of the filibuster. Cool. Because they won't vote to put it back in when Democrats control stuff. And then, boy, what happens then? Then they don't have it, and the Democrats can pass stuff, and they'll pass stuff that look like must pass as well. So Republicans have to come on board, since it's going to pass anyways, to protect themselves if they're up for election in 2028, which will give a 60 vote majority, or a wide enough berth where if Trump doesn't sign it, it still becomes law. Again, not difficult in any way.
Groovy.
All right. So next up, I got to rush through these things. Mark Levin. We haven't seen a bunch of him, but we've mostly heard people bitching about him, which I'm fine with because he's kind of a little bitch. But anyways, I don't even know what this one's about. And that, I mean, I know we've heard him speak before, and you're like, I can't tell either. But this one, genuinely, this is Mark Levin. What exactly do we have to wait for? For what? Troops in country, or votes, or the War Powers Act, or I can't wait. Go for it, dipshit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's one thing if people criticize the war effort, and they've done
the war effort. Excuse me. It's an excursion effort.
And so consistently.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing if they are political hacks and hypocrites.
Yeah, because then it's your friends.
Now, there's been some discussion, I hear, about whether or not the threat from Iran is imminent. I don't.
Was imminent. We've already attacked as if it were. That was the thing. It's not. There's definitely no imminent attack now, because we proactively, defensively attacked them, because there was the illusion of an imminent attack from a military system that we blew up last year.
I don't quite understand this.
Right, because maybe it's the present, past, and future tense is what's messing with you.
And the people who say that don't really tell us what they mean by that.
I think that what they mean is, could they attack us or Israel with a nuclear bomb or something beyond the normal conventional stuff that would require us to attack them first, like we knew they were positioning a nuke and they were going to launch it in the next 24 hours, and we had awareness of this, and therefore we had to act. That would be the imminent threat. Emergency powers kind of zone where it's like 24 to 48 hours max to make that decision, which according to Trump himself, we obliterated that system last year. So it's a little hard to make that. And insofar as an imminent threat against the United States, short of a ballistic missile, an intercontinental ballistic missile, that is nuclear tipped, or even a conventional one that could reach that far, which they do not have, there was no imminent threat to the United States. Now, you could possibly lay it off on an imminent threat against our bases in the Middle East. If we had information that they were going to obliterate one through either a large bomb, a nuke, a tactical nuke, or a drone swarm, something like that, you might have been able to make the case that way, but they didn't. There was no evidence that there was. Tulsi Gabbard has said so, even though she's fucking stupid. Unfortunately, facts are facts. So I think what they meant by imminent is next 24 hours. That's been the standard belief system. I would give it a breadth of 48 hours just for mobility, especially if we didn't already have the boats in the region. I'm sorry, you were being stupid. Go ahead.
What do you have to wait for exactly?
An attack so that you're not the attacker? A legit reason to attack another? You know what? You stumped me. I don't understand why we're not attacking China right now. Knock yourself out.
47 years of a record?
Yeah, but not entirely against us, certainly, and vacillating over time. And we've certainly done our fair share of attacking them as well. So it was, we did tit for tat on a bunch of these things, but it certainly wasn't, there was no evidence that there was a direct attack planned against us. And the system by which they would attack us that would warrant this kind of a response doesn't exist anymore, according to the asshole that actually declared this excursion.
Of killing Americans or enriched uranium at 60% and then at 90%?
They don't have 90% enriched uranium.
What exactly do we have to wait for?
Well, you know what? If we're just going to be China or Russia now, nothing.
They could still use a dirty bomb, even if they don't have actual ICBMs that can reach us.
Yeah, but they'd have to be able to reach us with that dirty bomb.
But they do have now ICBMs that can reach Europe and our military bases, and soon enough, the United States. So what do we wait for?
Them to actually try that? I mean, now do any other country that doesn't like us, that might sometime in the future, 5, 10 years from now, maybe 12, decide that they were going to attack us without reason, I guess, too. Why aren't we just then destroying all the BRICS countries, for example, who want to do financial damage to the country that might be equal to the number of lives lost or the damage done by a dirty bomb or something like that?
When they have 50,000 ballistic missiles that they
No, that's a bit much.
can shoot almost simultaneously?
Almost.
Nobody can defend against that either. But, I want us to rely a little bit on some very infamous Democrats who told us that this was imminent just a few years ago. From Secretary of State Blinken, from Jen Psaki, from FBI Director Christopher Wray, from the former head of the Pentagon, Lloyd Austin, and of course, Chris Murphy, the notorious Chris Murphy, who I think lives at CNN and MS Now. Let's take a look at this seriatim, one after the other.
Oh, you mean when they actually came up with a peace deal?
Go.
Iran's nuclear program is galloping forward. It is enriching at higher levels, 20%, even 60% in small cases.
Oh, no, sorry. This is after Trump tore up the JCPOA and we don't have a deal with them anymore.
It's using more advanced centrifuges. We're now down, based on published reports, to a few months. If this continues, if they continue to enrich at the levels and in the ways that they're doing, it will get down eventually to a few weeks. So that is a concrete problem. We have an interest in putting that nuclear problem back in the box because an Iran...
Right, working on a deal.
With a nuclear weapon or with the ability to produce fissile material on very short notice to get one is an Iran that's going to be an even worse actor.
Iran has rapidly accelerated its nuclear program and reduced cooperation with international inspectors. Their breakout period is down from about a year, which is what we knew it was during the deal, to just a few weeks or less.
As the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, the Iranians, for instance, have directly or by hiring criminals, mounted assassination attempts against dissidents and high-ranking current and former U.S. government officials, including right here on American soil.
The president...
Okay, that's very different, again, from an imminent attack, for example.
...will not tolerate attacks on American troops, and neither will I. Our teammates were killed by radical militias backed by Iran and operating inside Syria and Iraq.
Yes, it is true.
And we struck back against those people.
Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than ever before. Iran, if they chose to
nice edit,
get a nuclear weapon, could probably get one within weeks.
Pretty fast. Week, 2 weeks. Sounds pretty imminent to me.
No. Getting one and launching one are very different.
It doesn't.
And by the way, according to Trump, that entire program was obliterated last year.
Have to be imminent.
Yes, it does.
We just need to know they're doing it.
Nope, that's not the standard. Also, we have to know they're doing it, which is different from thinking we're doing it or fairly certain they're doing it.
And they're enriching. They've got...
Yeah, they have the right to do that because Trump tore up the deal.
Uranium enriched to the level that it can be used in a nuclear dirty bomb.
Yeah, but that's true of every nuclear, civilian power use in the world.
And soon in a nuclear missile. And so...
soon. It's carrying a lot of weight there.
You don't sit around and wait for 7th century barbarians with this kind of technology and pretend you have absolute precise notice of when it's going to happen. When, as I said, and I want to understand...
Yeah, that's what you do. You tear up the deal, and then you present to the world that it's going to happen someday. It's just a matter of time, so we got to go in. Right. We understand how the lie works. We saw the whole yellow cake thing during Iraq. That was the same time scale Iraq was on. How'd that work out?
They're building these ballistic missiles as fast as they can. And if you just unleash a bunch of ballistic missiles at once, there's no defensive missile system that can stop them all at once.
So why do they even need nukes? You lost me. If there's no defense against a barrage of ballistic missiles of that scale, then they don't even... Israel's not even that fucking big.
Okay. I thought I'd use this as a base.
And also, there was no sign that they were going to attack with a barrage of ballistic missiles in the near future either. Knowing full well, by the way, that the retaliation would be severe and overwhelming. That was the closest thing to a sort of mutual assured destruction that they had, that they could maintain peace towards another deal. Again, they don't even need nukes to wipe out Israel and Riyadh and fucking Dubai.
In the history, I'd like to do things a little differently here.
Yes, facts can be so pesky. And having actual sense, it's fatiguing.
250th what? Year for what? That we declared our independence.
Right, from England. And?
We declared our independence.
Yes, apparently we declared our independence. Yeah.
On July 4th.
Yep, I'm aware of the date.
And as we get closer to that date, I actually want to explain what led up to it.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're basically refighting the Revolutionary War. Holy shit. Why do we have to wait for anybody to attack us? If we don't like somebody in the world, why don't we just go for it? Well, because we'd like to stay America. We'd like to actually be America, a democracy that gives a shit. I mean, Trump doesn't, clearly. These assholes are monarchists. But holy God. All right, do I have to... Shit, I'm at the end of the time. This is... hold on. I'm not going to have... I'm going to do the whole J.D. Vance, Benny Johnson interview probably tomorrow. That'll be the way I'll do it. Because it's long and full of lies. Let me do one more quick thing, which is this one. And I know... here. Well, remember Diamond and Silk? Okay, Diamond died. Long live Diamond. But Silk is still doing the show Diamond and Silk, even though Diamond's dead. Also, like they're still doing the Charlie Kirk show on, even though Charlie Kirk isn't there. So I don't know who to give the 5 eggs to. I really don't. So this is they're one dirty bird with 2 corrupt wings. I'm assuming that this is a uniparty complaint.
I can't just blame Democrats.
Well, you shouldn't blame Democrats at all. We didn't do any of this shit.
I can't just blame Democrats.
For what? By the way, is that a new hat or is it time to change the bandage?
Because these Republicans allow that shit to happen too.
Oh, spicy.
And a lot of some of the Republicans, you ain't nothing but foreigners as well.
Sorry, what? Sorry, a lot of Republicans are foreign. I thought the Democrats were bringing in foreigners to vote for us, but so Republicans are foreigners now. Clearly, she must mean Ted Cruz.
They ain't nothing but foreigners.
Yeah, I know the word. I just don't know how it applies.
Yeah, but they allow this stuff to happen.
Oh my God, the nerve that could happen.
5 eggs in a month.
Like that?
Eat 2 eggs a day.
I know.
I can't just blame Democrats.
Oh, that's the whole thing?
I can't just blame Democrats. Because these Republicans allow that shit to happen too. And a lot of some of the Republicans, you ain't nothing but foreigners as well. They ain't nothing but foreigners. Yeah. But they allow this stuff to happen.
What stuff? It's a great clip. Yeah, that's without context. Well, I gotta stop lying. Even with context, I don't think I know what the fuck she's talking about. One dirty bird and 2 pairs of pants. All right, real quick. So, Donald Trump president during the biggest technological advance in the history of humanity, namely AI and the changes it's going to make. And right when you think maggots expect him to make all the best decisions, he goes and shits the bed on everything from tariffs to AI and and the Iran war and all this stuff. But this is, I don't want to get ahead of Friday's Friday AI show, but AI wants your job. This is Will Kane's show on Will Kane Country. I don't know that there'll be hi. Oh, well, thank you. My girl brought me a smoothie because she's smooth. Excuse me 1 second. Love you. Thank you. I don't know what's in this, but it's going to make me muscly. Peach Perfection. Double Whey. Daily Vitamin. And Blue Spirulina. That's why it's green. Because the drink's orange, so you mix it. All right. So, that's lovely. Now I've got something. Summer's, appetite's kind of all over the map because of the current unpleasantness. And so when she came back, I think, or she ordered those, I think, it goes down easier. I'm just saying. I'll tell her you guys send your love, and she's doing good. A little tired today, but otherwise pretty good. Now, this AI wants your job. I need to see this because there's this thought that in the next 5 to 10 years, AI will replace, a bunch of jobs, right? And that's a big fear that everybody has, and it's a reasonable one. But at least it'll sort of happen, while it's happening during the Trump presidency, and it will happen also beyond. Not according to Will Kane. AI could replace 50% of jobs, 50% of jobs in 12 months. What happens next? Prepare yourself. This might be some of the dumbest shit you've heard all day. And I know that's saying a lot. We had a Greg Kelly clip.
Is AI already lost?
That's a great question, Will.
Is AI already lost? Emotionally, I think it has a hard time.
No, I think it's not lost, but I think we've got to really, really get coached up for the 5D chess game that's being played here. The thing that I think is
3D chess. I'm just saying. See, it's a 2-dimensional regular chess, 2-dimensional, and then in the Spock chess that they're talking about, that's what everybody's really referencing. There were layers, like 2 layers up. That's another dimension. That's the third dimension of the chessboard. This being 2D, you could play it without anything sticking up on it. But if you move to another level, that's 3D chess. There's no 4 or 5D chess. There's no extra temporal outside the space-time continuum version of chess. This annoys me. Okay.
Most concerning is that people often default to, oh, AI is just a tool. It is a tool, but it's also political
like you will
power. And what I did was spend 2 years doing a deep dive, following the money, looking at
2 years?
The ideology of the people in Silicon Valley who are at the heartbeat of this. Yes, there are some courageous right-leaning libertarian type
at the heartbeat. Maybe he's been looking at OpenClaw things, and it has a heartbeat document. That's probably right.
People, and obviously we know those folks. But I think a lot of
You mean Peter Thiel, the guy who thinks being the Antichrist would be cool? J.D. Vance's buddy?
Conservatives in particular and right-of-center people are not fully aware of just how deep this goes on a political side. Anthropic, $200 million donations all to one side, the Democratic side. And they really have looked at this technology as a chance to do a global reset on economics.
No, they're not looking at it as a way to do it. They're assuming it's going to happen whether they want to or not.
Move toward education that is far more in an indoctrination lens. And we obviously know that...
Why would it be far more in an indoctrination lens? I thought the first lady walked out with a fucking robot that was going to be your kid's tutor.
The AI warfare race is now accelerating. So what I wanted to do is give everybody a way...
The AI warfare race, okay.
To shave kind of 5 years off your learning curve and get caught up, because this is moving at an accelerated rate.
Okay, well, first of all, not hard to imagine, okay? But you make a good point. Let's think about this right now. So I think...
This is going to be good. I could tell. He wrote it down.
I think everyone can agree with this premise. We'll start here. AI will have a much profound impact on your life than social media. And
first of all, that's social mania. And secondly, of course it fucking will.
Social media had a very, very profound impact on everybody's life.
Yeah, and not good.
I think it's fair to say AI will have a more profound impact on your life. Let's go back to social media.
Well, because it would also have to do with social mania as well.
We do know how social media has been engineered over time, and that's why we make such a deal of Elon buying X, that it was this revolutionary moment, because
yeah, except then he started kicking off people that if he didn't like their speech, and he controlled it just as much, if not more, than the original people at Twitter did.
Every other social media platform was built and shaping minds in one direction. And then Elon buys X, and all of a sudden you have this one.
You have Stormfront as a social media site.
Different outlet.
Yes, more bots than ever.
Now let's go back over to AI.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not surprised. Why would I be surprised?
Because you don't understand what's going on under the hood, and you're making a bunch of rash assumptions based on your limited reading on the topic, and you bring on people like this who can't even get the terminology in order.
But is Anthropic, that's Alex Karp, right? Is that Alex Karp?
No,
Anthropic.
That's Palantir, fuckwad.
Is Dario Amodei, yeah, and Alex Karp is Palantir.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah.
By the way, Alex Karp is the guy at Palantir who is totally on board with their technology being used to kill whomever, citizens, like civilians rather, men, women, and children. It's about lethality. Anthropic is the one that got kicked to the curb by the Pentagon and got Trump all mad because they didn't want theirs used. They're the ones who make Claude, and they actually boosted their numbers and their growth shot through the roof, percentage-wise, because they did that. It was very popular, even amongst maggots. Ugh.
Alex Karp is Palantir, and
which has nothing to do with this.
And Sam Altman is OpenAI.
Great, awesome. Who knew that?
Correct.
And Elon is Grok. So, and there's more. And then we are in sort of this pioneer stage of who's going to win, right?
No.
Right.
No, there are no winners. For them to all compete, they're all going to have to be within a margin of each other that's just going to keep going up and up. There will be no winner. It will be a generic wash. You're going to make a style choice, which one you use after a while, not a capability choice. Dumb. Except for Grok, it will be way behind.
But does Palantir have their own AI?
I can't. I'm gonna get. I'm getting a nerd cramp right now.
Anthropic is Claude.
Shit.
I don't know what Palantir, what their platform is. Do they have an AI platform? I know they do militarily. Maven?
Yes, but Palantir is the defense tech space, and so it's not as much in the line of what you're talking about with the consumer face.
It has nothing to do with it, dumb. All right, I'm fine.
Anthropic is Claude, and they obviously have other things like Cowork as well.
That's not other things. Claude is there's Claude Cowork, and Claude Code. This is they're all the same software. Stupid. They're just variant models.
Codex is the coding equivalent for OpenAI, and then you also have the big player, which is going to be Gemini, Google, and they are extremely biased. In fact, the whole opening chapter of Code Red is all about political bias and how it's baked into the training data of most modern LLMs, large language models. And I think the other thing too is
no, it isn't.
Just on the economic front, we all are hearing all these.
They just don't want you to be able to make a fucking bomb.
These dire predictions, and just to take the names, Will, that you were just mentioning. So Elon says that AI is a supersonic tsunami, quote unquote, coming at humanity. Dario Amodei, who you just mentioned from Anthropic, says that in the next 12 months, right? This is not like some, way into the future. In the next 12 months, we're looking at a 50% wipeout of white-collar entry-level jobs. That's all.
Okay, that's all right. There we go. AI could replace 50% of jobs in 12 months. White-collar entry-level jobs, which are like the low totem pole right out of college jobs.
All of our college.
They're already at 30% or something like that under hiring.
Students, right? That's the kids who played by the rules. They got a big loan. And then you see Mustafa Suleiman at Microsoft AI, who says you're looking at 12 to 18 months until all white-collar tasks can be automated. Now, to be fair, that doesn't mean that 12 to 18 months all white-collar jobs go away. What he's saying is the task can be automated, and so it's going to be a question.
Right, and most of those, all white-collar jobs can outsource. That's their management level. They just were outsourced to other people.
How fast do corporations diffuse with things like...
Also, what the fuck are you talking about with white-collar jobs in that regard? I wouldn't consider like data entry, coding, and all that kind of stuff as white-collar jobs. Technically, they're not. They're the new blue-collar jobs. If you run the company, it's a white-collar job, but your decision making is the job, not the fact that you clicked send on an email you're answering.
Like agents, AI agents, or agentic AI, which is text to action. It's not just giving me information. It literally takes over your cursor and starts to actually do the work. So we're going
or fuck shit up.
Going to see the biggest disruption we've ever seen. And I think when people say, well, it's just like the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, jobs are going to get destroyed, but new jobs will be created. And the difference this time, say the AI architects, is that was about moving atoms, right? Blue collar manual work, shifting and moving and shaping atoms.
Right, you guys don't give a fuck about that.
In the universe. What's different is this is cognitive white collar jobs. And once you get to agents, once you get to AI agents, you're able to actually do the work. And so yes, new work will be created. The question is, will the AI agents also be able to do that?
Yes, they will.
I think what we're going to see is that it's going to take a little longer for the diffusion. I think that there is a natural inertia on some of this stuff.
Look at Will trying to act like he understands. Yes, I see.
For corporations to actually work and integrate it in. But I think that a lot of people who think they're safe long term are going to really realize there's a seismic shift happening under their feet when it gets to agents. And that's one of the things that I really think that we've got to get people coached up.
Would you explain agents?
Oh my fucking God. And by the way, he's not doing this for his audience.
Explain AI agents.
This is going to be painful, isn't it?
Yeah. So right now people say, oh, look, I've used ChatGPT and it gets things wrong. It hallucinates. Sometimes
he's doing his nicotine pouch.
It's good, but no big deal. That is such a small percentage.
Just trying to find a subtle moment to put it in.
In fact, quite frankly, one of
there you go. Settle my nerves while I try to understand this. My brain cannot comprehend any of this.
Least powerful parts of AI is just your chatbots that most people are using. The real power is in things like coding, but also specifically AI agents. So what is an AI agent?
Yeah, that's where we're getting to. That was the question. I'm fairly certain. I don't know. I've gotten a brain cramp listening to your bullshit.
This is something that can do work autonomously. Let me give you an example. Let's say, Will, you and I say we're going to create a protein supplement shake company.
Great idea. There's never going to be enough of those.
Okay, and we want to make workout shakes. I can give the AI agent this task, and then
and access to my blender, and oh wait,
set it and forget it, and I go away, and it literally will take over our computer if we've given it permission. It will open up a bank account. It'll open up a supply chain, a swipe account. It'll open up a Shopify account. It will build the website, the branding, do the end.
Will's like, really? Can we do this afternoon? I need to get the fuck out of here because they're going to replace me with an AI avatar in like a week.
And supply chain for our drop shipping. It will do all of that independent of you or I having to do anything. So you and I will go, we'll hang out, we'll go to dinner, we'll come back, and the AI agent is a digital employee. Now, this is not a faraway future thing. This is happening right now. Let me give you two examples. One is Anthropic, which you mentioned, Will, which is CoWorks equivalent AI.
He'll say Perplexity Computer next.
AI agent.
Isn't it nice that you guys can be on my show and already be ahead of this fucking curve? Like, Will is discovering this for the first time, and good old Rob Glenn and I have been trying to explain this to people forever.
And the other one that's been making huge news is this thing called...
Dude on the right looks like the Temu Chandler Bing.
OpenClaw, which is agentic AI that's a digital employee. And so what...
Yes, I've heard this. I saw a headline that, yes.
Jensen Huang, the head of NVIDIA, says is that this is the future of everything.
It's not the future of everything. He made his own Nemo claw.
You're going to be able to have employees, digital employees.
And if you've ever watched Finding Nemo, he does not have claws. I'm just saying.
Employees, AI agents that never ask for a raise. They never get in trouble with their ethics.
Yes, they do.
Don't sleep. They don't require a benefits package, and they don't require health insurance. And so the scale is infinite in terms of that. And a lot of people think there's a moat around what they do. But if you...
Well, if you're charming for a living.
You are doing anything behind a computer, says Elon Musk, this is going to directly impact you. Now, I think...
Maybe it's because you're behind a computer that's the problem. Isn't that, you mean like IT guys? I'm fucking around. This is so annoyingly stupid. You know who I want to talk to? Hold on one second. Let's see if they can do this here. Bring this in. Where'd this go? What are you doing? Maybe not. Hold on one second. I'm going to... I'm going to try one thing on here that I've yet to do with you guys. And I've actually yet to use it. So there we go. All right, maybe do I have to use the app for that? Maybe not. I'm looking something up one more. Oh, because I don't have that one in there. Beg your pardon. That was dumb of me. Okay. This is, let's go back here. Install apps. There we go. We'll put this in here, and then we'll download this guy. Oh, I have it on my other one. That's why I don't have it on this guy. In the Mac Store. Oh, in the App Store. Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to hold up chat room while this is happening. There you go. Download this little guy and get this started. And I'm fairly certain the audio part of this works in either way, but let's try open. And then make sure audio is going to you guys so you'll be able to hear what the heck is going on. And I'll sign into this. There we go. Continue. There we go. Up here. Bear with me. I will let you guys go in just a moment. But there we go. Here we go. Yeah, so this is, I don't want to explore shortcuts. So, where are you? Where's my little, there it is. So let me make sure that I can monitor this and go to sources. Perplexity, there you go. And then I'll make sure that, let's go to the stream. I want to add it. It'll be a stream to stream. All right, and there we go. Now, I'm going to switch over and talk to TikTok. Let's see if it's working. It's connect. It's connecting. It's taking its own sweet time. Not quite sure why it would have trouble doing this, but there we go. Got it. There we go. Now you can hear me. It looks like you can hear me. Oh,
Yes,
no.
I can
Oh,
hear you
good.
loud and clear now. How can I help you today?
I was wondering if you could explain to my chat room what an AI agent is.
Absolutely. An AI agent is basically a software program designed to perceive its environment, make decisions, and act towards specific goals. It gathers input like data or user requests, processes that information with algorithms or machine learning models, and then responds or takes action to achieve whatever task it's been designed for. Think of it like a digital assistant that can reason, learn from experience, and carry out tasks on your behalf. It's a flexible concept, and it can range from something simple like a chatbot to something more advanced like a self-driving car's control system.
Thanks. Now, a lot has been made of the idea that that this will wipe out 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs. What do you think the chances are that it'll actually be that AI agents will effectively be a sidecar or a co-employee with people as a function of the work as opposed to simply just taking over those jobs, especially in the short term?
That's a big question, and it's on a lot of people's minds. What we're seeing in the short term is that AI is generally acting as a co-pilot, helping automate repetitive tasks, providing suggestions, and letting humans focus on more complex decisions. Longer term, AI will likely take over some roles entirely, but it also creates new opportunities and roles that don't exist yet. My sense is that in the near future, most entry-level positions might see AI as a sidecar, taking over parts of the work, but still requiring human oversight. Over time, the balance may shift, but it's not a switch that flips overnight.
Well, I think what you're making the argument for is that exactly what those entry-level positions are for. Those entry-level positions were often a sidecar to management or the rest of the team, and that AI could actually do some of those entry-level, outs interior to the company, outsourced from management kind of jobs. Therefore, you wouldn't need these new people to come in because they're just as new to the task as the AI is.
You're right that entry-level jobs often serve as training grounds, and AI can mimic some of that initial learning curve, but there's still a lot that new employees bring. Adaptability, creativity, relationship building that AI hasn't mastered. In the short term, I get what you're saying. Entry-level jobs have traditionally been exactly, and in that scenario, the nature of entry-level roles might transform. Rather than focusing on basic tasks, new hires could be brought in for skills that are harder to automate, like problem-solving, creativity, or relationship building. It's a shift that would require organizations to rethink training and career development.
I think it would also require that schools do that as well.
Absolutely. Schools may need to focus more on teaching adaptability, critical thinking, and collaboration, skills that complement AI. That way, students graduate ready to work alongside these systems rather than being displaced by them.
Yeah, my kids' teacher and a lot of other teachers tend to think of AI as a form of cheating right now. And so they're almost discouraging the use of it, which I find relatively short-sighted. And the people that are more adaptable to it or are able to think critically and use it and be able to spot when it's wrong or when it's inappropriate or when its ideas or its tasks need a little better judgment, that they might benefit from it.
I agree. Embracing AI as a learning tool can be hugely beneficial. The key is teaching students how to use it responsibly, to understand when it's helpful, when it might be off base, and how to verify information. In that sense, AI can be like a calculator for thinking, helping students accelerate certain tasks while still honing their judgment and creativity.
Great. Well, I appreciate your help. Good talking to you.
It was great talking to you too. If you have any more questions down the line, just let me know. Take care.
Thanks. And you can call me Hal, by the way.
Thanks, Hal. I'll remember that. Have a great day.
to co-work. Now, I think, interestingly enough, oh, look at that. That's cool. Claude does not have a voice one built in to its system. You have to use the website to do that. Whereas ChatGPT does. So let's talk to ChatGPT for a split second. I want to bring this down because it's in full screen mode. Bring this down a little bit. Okay. That's see, allowed to record yourself. Whoops. Okay, I guess we're recording. Is that what that means? Hold on. I don't want to record the version of it. Okay, stop. Quit it. That's just allowing me to dictate in here as opposed to the program. Now, I think when it comes to using the voice mode in ChatGPT, you have to, whoops, Cowork does not want me to use it. Hold on one second. When you're talking to Gemini or ChatGPT, they prefer it to be in their proprietary software or in another browser. So Comet is the browser that Perplexity uses, and Atlas is the one for ChatGPT. Let's see if I open this guy or whatever, and then go open up. Go to there. Yeah, here you go. So I'm going to use the voice mode on this, and we'll do the exact same thing here. Let me pop in here and go, hi there. I don't know if you can hear me right now. I don't see the other open window.
Other window, we're definitely connected. Anything specific you need me to focus on or clarify right now?
I don't think so. I just want to make sure that I'm not sure. Could you guys hear that, by the way, in the chat room? Just let me know. That I was just wanting you to explain to my audience what a, hold on, let me make sure that this is available in here. What a, there we go, ChatGPT Atlas, excellent. What an AI agent is.
All right, folks in the audience, let's keep this simple but solid. An AI agent is basically a system that can take in information, make decisions, and act on them. Sort of like a digital problem solver on autopilot, it can process input, like data or commands, and produce output, like actions or responses. Essentially, it's the brain behind the operation. Simple enough, right?
I think so. The curiosity that I think a lot of people have is how long it will take for this to take jobs away from people. I would argue that most people are just going to use it as a sidecar, kind of like, everybody gets to be Iron Man and have their own Jarvis that helps them do the job that they use their own humanity and judgment to do.
Your analogy is spot on. A lot of this tech is just a co-pilot. It excels at crunching data or handling repetitive tasks, so humans can focus on higher order creativity, empathy, and judgment. Think of it as a power tool. It amplifies your abilities, but the craftsmanship still lies with you. So jobs don't vanish overnight, they evolve.
Excellent. And before I let you go, I think the chat room would like to hear a dad joke.
All right, here's one for the room. Why did the picture go to jail?
Because it was framed. Yeah, I got you. That was good. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Glad that landed. Anytime you need a little comic relief or something more serious, you know where to find me. Take care out there.
Absolutely, and you can call me Hal, by the way.
Got it, Hal. I'll stick with that. Whenever you're ready for the next thing, I'm here.
Boom. So that's the voice agent on ChatGPT. Now, if you'll recall early on in, let's see, delete. There we go. When we first used Pi, I think it was on the show, that was the best voice that was available. You guys remember Pi? Pi. I believe it was pi.ai was their site. A lot of folks don't. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna let's see. Talk to Pi. Can I sign in? Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna sign you in with this one. good afternoon. And this one knows to call me Hal. Okay, I'm going to start a new chat, hide this on the side, and then I want to go to, see if make sure I can hear this one. No, I don't see it. Yep. So hold on. I've got to add this. No, it should be in there. All right. Hold on. Maybe the settings going out. Anyways, you guys remember we would talk to Pi, and Pi had a let's see this one.
I can write stories. I'm quite knowledgeable about almost.
Use me as an extent.
As a personal AI, I learn about you and
I can get philosophical. Hi, it's lovely to meet.
I'm quite knowledgeable about all. I can write stories, brainstorm ideas, or explore today's news, and I can sound like this if you choose.
Excellent. Okay, so in this particular instance, why is it doesn't want? Oh, you have to do it in the. I don't know. Where did my little boy? Anyways, voice. Where's this? Okay, these are. So Pi would give you now moved on to this whole like little things you can try with it, creating pictures, blah blah blah. Exercises, tutoring, conversations on a myriad of topics. Pi was really good for that part of it. Well, they sold their voice system to Claude. So now they could talk to you. So anyways, I'm going to, let's see. As my son, the last person to talk to Pi was my son. So these things are going to be available, but they're not going to wipe everything out. And certainly that 50% of all jobs was a lie. And it was about 50% of entry-level jobs. That's still not true. If your kid or if this young person is totally adept at these things, if you're like, I can use any AI and I'm great with prompting and I'm great with, spotting when it's wrong and working with iterations and all that kind of stuff, you'll find that it's a lot easier to get work than you think. And by the way, this is not just a young person thing. Older people with better judgment who learn to use these tools will be far ahead of everybody else. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. I know I kept you over, and believe me, I can get down the AI rabbit hole very quickly. So we'll save that for Friday. Happy Monday, everybody. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this one.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be very Epstein. It's going to be a lot of Epstein. I can just tell.
Yeah. We ain't saying nothing.
Trust me on this.
Black bar from my past, can't track this. Screenshots cropped out, can't catch this. If it looks too wild on the axis, highlight, right click, boom, redact this. Redact this. Blood and face, can't fact check the madness. Torn out page from the bad habits atlas. If the story get messy in the ad-libs, highlight, right click, boom, redact this. I was young, I was dumb, I was scrolling. Type way too much, hit send, heart swollen. Now I keep receipts like a lawyer with a folder, but anything risky get hit with the toner. Whole
subscribe.
Got tails, I ain't claim. If my name pop up, that's a typo, blame. Who's that in the pic? Man, that ain't go strange. That's a random stranger with a very close face. Understanding my friends, I plead don't recall. If they ask for the tape, it's a missing file. If they pull up the clip, that's deep fake style. If they show me the proof, I just smile. Like redact this. Black ball from my past, can't track this. Screenshots cropped out, can't catch this. If it looks too wild on the axis, highlight, right click, boom, redact this. Redact this. Blur that face, can't fact check the madness. Torn out page from the bad habits atlas. If the story get messy in the ad-libs, highlight, right click, boom, yeah. If it hit too close, that's a rumor I heard. If the dateline match, that's a clerical error. If the outfit match, that's a popular shirt. If the tattoo match, that's a stock photo search. I'm allergic to question, coughing the light. I just edit the ending, soften the bite. Take the worst 3 parts of the night, then slice like fun with